Welcome back to PhotoJoseph Photo Moment, the Q&A section. We were talking about the brand new Pearl Mini from Epiphan video. We just did an unboxing of this. If you somehow managed to watch this and not that, click up here. You'll see the link to that. This is an impressive looking piece of hardware. I got a preview of this at NAB earlier this year, and this is the first time I've had my hands on it. Literally, we just unboxed. I have not turned it on. It still has the cellophane wrapper on it. But I'm going to do my best to answer any questions that may be coming up right now in the live chat room, which normally I could bring the chat up on screen. I can't right now because we're streaming in 4K. I'm not, it's a long story. Don't worry about it, but I can't put the chat up on screen right now. We were, however, before this just started, talking about the benefits of going 4K, whether people in the audience actually want to see stuff in live 4K. Ryan, tell me what the results of the poll were, please. And I'm just curious to hear how many people actually want to see a live 4K stream. Let's see here. Burns, welcome. Ryan's saying he'd have to vote for me. Just give me the results. Just tell me. Okay. He's talking way too much in my ear. 100% 1080. 100% of you said just go 1080. That is very interesting. That is very telling. Very interesting. Okay, well, good to know. Thank you. Let's see what are going on in the questions here. Car Galaxy Studios, this really is a studio without using a computer then. Interesting concept. Yes, that is exactly what this is. You do not need a computer. And I was saying at the end of the last show that you have a web-based interface for this. So for doing all of your setup, all your encoding settings and everything else, a lot of that I think you can do on this big, huge touch screen here, but because it's a web-based thing, you could just do it on your iPad, anything that can connect to a URL. So as long as you're on the same network, it gives you a local IP, you just punch that in and away it goes, and that's how we configure the Pearl too. So it's I don't want to say it's an easy setup. There's a lot in there to go through, but once you understand everything, it's not a big deal. It's not the kind of thing you go into every day, and we almost never log into it anymore. Now that the device is set up, we just use the control surface here to touch and set up everything up on there. So yeah, you don't need a computer to do the vast majority of it, and you certainly don't need it during the actual production because you have the touch all on here. Burns is saying that 4K is crispy. 4K is definitely crispy. You've been watching MKBHD, haven't you? MKBHD likes to talk about how crispy the video is. 4K is great. I love 4K, but you know, sometimes it's just not necessary. 5 Passengers is saying, I know friends shooting 8K on Red for YouTube geared to mobile viewers. To me, that is overkill. Are you talking about MKBHD as well? Yeah, he shoots, Marquez shoots everything on Red, what is he, Red Dragons, Red Epics? They're insane cameras. And, you know, clearly you get a real cinematic quality out of that, shallow depth of field, that it was such a big sensor. I mean, it's a beautiful setup. He does it because he can, largely. He talks sometimes about doing it for future-proofing, but I don't really buy that because a year from now, no one's going to want to watch a review on today's latest Samsung phone. Who cares if it was shot in 8K? A year from now, even if everything was 8K a year from now, no one's going to go back and watch it. So I don't quite buy that as a value point, at least not for tech review videos. But, you know, hey, he's got an incredible setup. His stuff always looks absolutely top. I mean, his videos look pretty much the best out there as far as tech reviews go, and he is shooting all on Red. What are you going to do? Hey, when you got that kind of money to put into it, go, my brother. That is awesome. Let's see here. Burns is excited to see what this little guy can do. So am I. So am I. It's impressive. It's an impressive size. If you missed the beginning of the thing, when I did this, that's really surprised me. It is the size of my iPad. This isn't the mini. This is the regular size iPad. So it is that. Obviously, it's not as thin, obviously, but it is the physical size of the iPad, which width and height, which really, that's impressive. Burns says there's really no benefit to 4K for what you're doing here. If you had to code or anything with a lot of text, I can see 4K being beneficial at this time anyway. Well, if I have to do stuff with text, okay, look at this. Here's my screen at 4K. The only reason that you can actually read all this is because I have scaled it up to like 1,000,000%. Look at the top. There's the URL bar. See it up there? See it? So if I hit Command 0 and I bring this back to normal size, there's a normal size web page. If I go to my desktop, look at the little menus. I mean, can you imagine me trying to do a demo like this? It'd be impossible. So I can zoom in, but then it gets all chunky and zoom way back out, and there we go. So, you know, clearly going 4K from the screen is not ideal, so that would have to be scaled up anyway. So there you go. Mark says, overpriced for 3 inputs. He says you can put an ATEM with all needed encoder and touchscreen with preview for less. Okay, so Mark, I'm very well familiar with the ATEMs. The lowest end one, the Television Studio, I think is now 1080p capable. When I first started looking at them, it was only 1080i. Is still what, $1,500 or something like that, $1,000, $1,500 for that. That's going to give you your switching. but then you still need hardware encoding. What hardware encoder out there is going to give you anywhere near the quality of this? That I would love to hear. If you have an answer for me for that, let me know. But I have yet to find a hardware encoder that does this. I own a lot of this stuff, right? I've got the X2, also made by Epiphan, clearly a lower end encoder. It works well, but this is, without a question, this is a better quality encoder. Using a laptop, even if you were to say, okay, I'm going to take a dedicated laptop and put encoding software on there, put OBS or put Wirecast on there, by the time you get a decent laptop and put that on there, you're talking at least, what, a couple of grand? So boom, you've already blown the budget blowing over this. So that's not going to work. The only dedicated hardware encoders I've seen that are like a portable hardware encoder would be something like the ones from Teradek, a VidiU Pro. That's $1,000. It is a decent encoder, but it's not great. I've been using that thing for a couple of years. It's unreliable. It only works half the time that I need it. I wish I could say better things about it, but I've had so many issues with it. It's exceptionally frustrating. I can't rely on that for dedicated hardware encoding, whereas again, not the Pearl Mini, I haven't started using it, but the Pearl 2, flawless 100% of the time. And the better quality, without a question, a better quality. So if you've got a hardware encoder that you know that would fit that budget, so it would have to be at that point, you'd have to be spending, I'd say, less than $2,000, because now you're talking about multiple pieces of hardware, and the additional hardware you're going to need to configure and manage it, then by all means let me know. I would love to hear what you've got in mind. Okay, back into the questions here. Burns Tech, I shoot my golf cart repair videos in 4K 60p. Necessary? Not really. I have a GH5, so why not use it? Well, even if you're shooting, forget about streaming for a second. If you're shooting video for YouTube or whatever, and even if your final delivery is only going to be 1080, I think it's still advantageous. It is advantageous to shoot 4K because you have the ability to punch into the shot, right? If I've got a 4K image, but I only need 1080p, I can do a full 100% scale, a full zoom, doubling the size and not actually be scaling up the pixels. So this is massively advantageous, right? If you've got a wider shot, you just want to get a little bit closer, you can zoom in, no problem. But more importantly, it gives you kind of a multi-camera aspect almost. If I'm talking here and I want to do a punch in, whether I'm just doing it for effect or I want to edit around something I need to cut out of the video, to be able to punch in like that is massively huge. I'm doing a production now where I'm shooting on a 4K camera, this one here, and then I have kind of presets built up that I can drag onto the project on the timeline to do a punch into the face, a super close-up, a medium close-up, a close-up to the table, all these different shot angles from a single camera. Shooting 4K is massively advantageous. And then shooting 4K 60, if you're deleting 1080-30, gives you the ability to not only punch in, but also do a 50% slowdown if you want to have a little slow motion effect and still have frame for frame existing frames for every frame of video that goes out, which is, again, massively, massively huge. So if you're doing recording, shooting 4K 60, this is not even a question for me. Of course you should. And this is partially why MKBHD would do 8K. That gives you even more advantages, more opportunity to punch in or stabilize. There's another great one if you're going to stabilize your footage. But, for your live, maybe not so necessary. Burns, have to agree, hardware encoder software is just not as good. It is not. Car Galaxy, OBS does support CUDA and NVIDIA, so your GPU can be considered hardware encoding. Yeah, find me someone who's doing OBS that doesn't have reliability issues with it. All the software issues, all the software platforms have, they're just not. I have, all the gray on me that you see is because of software encoders. That's it. Matt Diver, have you tried the Matrox encoder? I have not tried the Matrox encoder. I do recall hearing about it. I will need to look into it because I don't recall what the specs are, but I have not tried it. Car Galaxy, Joseph, does that company make a portable streaming unit? I'm curious about remote locations. This is portable streaming unit. If that's what you're talking about, this is very portable. They don't do like a suitcase kind of one. The actual Pearl 2, yeah, the Pearl 2 actually comes with a kind of Pelican style case because it is, it's portable in the fact that I'd say it's probably 2.5-ish times the volume of this. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, 2.5, 3 times the volume of this. But it's as portable as any suitcase is. This is smaller and lighter and therefore more portable. But all you need is power and internet and off you go. So it's definitely portable. Burns 100% agrees on the GH5 comment. Excellent. Burns also says, I've used my GH5 as a webcam using HDMI and 4K. On YouTube, 4K is meh. On Twitch, 4K is quite noticeably better. Oh, that's interesting. Well, we're on YouTube now, so Burns, if you're able to be streaming this show at 4K right now, please try it and tell me what you think. We are pushing what I think I set it up for, I think it's pushing out a 13 megabit, it might be 16, either 13 or 16 megabits that I am streaming out right now, which is a lot, but that's what's going out right now. And Burn says, use your GH5 as a webcam and HDMI with an Epiphan 4K USB adapter. Yeah, that's something else that this company makes. The USB adapter, so you can take HDMI or HDMI or SDI into your Mac over USB 3. It's a little box that does that, and they have a 4K version and a 1080p version. I own at least one of the HD versions. I don't have any of the 4Ks because I don't need them, but yeah, very, very handy. Burn saying OBS and reliability. Are you serious? I have nothing but reliability with OBS and pigs fly. Oh, I see sarcasm. Excellent. Good, Burns. Good. I like sarcasm in the show. Okay, that is that. Ryan has to run out of here like 5 minutes ago. So if he's not there, the whole show falls apart. So I'm going to cut this thing short here. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. We will, again, be doing a lot more with this over the coming weeks. I'm very excited to finally have this in my hands. I know a lot of you have been very excited about getting this. We are linking to this down below. If you want to buy one, please, of course, do use my affiliate links. I would very much greatly appreciate that, bigly appreciate that. And other than that, hey, have yourselves a great week. Friday, no show because I'm going to be in the air. I will try to do a show Saturday and or Sunday from Detroit, using this little box right here. Take care of yourselves, everybody. See you next time. Bye-bye.